What's going on, my friends? Cubs fan Han back again for a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes character reveal, and we have got First Order Executioner coming to the game. This is really exciting. We got a new Dark Side character, new First Order character. This is going to fit obviously with The Last Jedi that just hit. And I don't know about you guys, but when I saw the movie, this was one of the standout characters to me, and I thought that dude looks pretty dang cool. I hope we can see him in game. So I'm actually pretty excited that we're getting him. There's probably characters I would rather see more than First Order Executioner. I mean, no spoilers here, but these guys don't play a huge role in the movie. They don't really do that much other than look cool, but I am still excited to have them in game, especially because it gives the First Order a little more depth. I'm anxious to see how this is going to work in First Order teams, and if it could potentially give the First Order a place in the meta. This character is going to be filling a few holes for the First Order. Number one is it's going to have a Dispel, and I'm going to break down the whole kit here for you in a second, but that is definitely a really big plus for First Order. It's going to be a very a strong attacker, although this footage that you're seeing here that we have been provided by CG doesn't really show this character against very strong team composition, so I'm wondering how this character is going to do against the meta, so that still remains to be seen. So stay tuned for test account stuff. Once we get him in our test accounts, we're definitely going to be sure to get you some footage of him against those stronger meta characters, but against these characters, dang, does First Order Executioner sure pack a punch on his DPS. And then of course he's also going to be able to have a lot of healing effects for himself and a few others. So without any further ado, let's get to breaking down this kit, and I'll give some of my first initial impressions of it. So of course this is going to be First Order Executioner. His alignment is dark. He is going to be an attacker and First Order, and he is a merciless First Order attacker who executes powerful attacks, and indeed he does. And for now, we are just revealing this character for you. I do not have information on exactly when he is going to be hitting the game. I would guess pretty soon. And I'm not sure exactly how we are going to be unlocking this character at this point. And maybe we're going to have a marquee event, or maybe he's just going to be dropped into a node somewhere. I am not sure at this point. So stay tuned for more information on how we are going to do that. So his first ability, his basic, is called Judgment, and the text for this ability reads, deal physical damage and gain health up 30% for 1 turn. If target is debuffed, this attack is guaranteed to be a critical hit, and First Order Executioner gains advantage for 2 turns. So there's that advantage buff that we see all the time with First Order. That theme is still going to carry with First Order Executioner. And we are also seeing a guaranteed critical hit here, which is awesome against debuffed enemies. So be sure to use First Order Executioner against debuffed enemies when possible, so that you can have that guaranteed critical hit. Very cool, and you can see here that this basic ability is able to do pretty decent amounts of damage, a lot of times over 10,000 on that basic, which is very cool. Special number 1 is Death Sentence. And I really like this ability. Deal physical damage to target enemy. Remove 50% turn meter. So ding ding ding, we're already thinking raid character. And dispel all buffs on them. If this attack defeats an enemy, First Order Executioner gains 80% turn meter. And the cooldown of this ability is reset. Otherwise, he gains 40% turn meter and 20% max health, which is stacking until he defeats an enemy. Alright, so this is a really cool ability. Now, first and foremost, what I love about this ability is the raw DPS that it is able to do. In the footage that we are seeing here, we are seeing a lot of pretty heavy damage amounts being dealt out. And I really do like seeing that. That's something that's very encouraging. It's something that I love. I also love the turn meter manipulation. It's great to have a character that can remove turn meters. 50% is a pretty good amount of turn meter to remove, and he's going to be gaining turn meter himself. So a very cool ability there in Death Sentence. And look at the animation. I haven't even mentioned that yet. I love the animation. How he's going to whip out his little death stick here. It's going to light up. I think that's really cool. All right, unique number 1, Total Order. When First Order Executioner scores a critical hit, he gains 10% max health stacking until the end of the encounter, and First Order allies gain 10% turn meter. First Order Executioner has bonus offense equal to 5% of his max health. So the more health up that you get from him, the heavier he's going to start to hit. And you're going to see that in his both in his unique here. He's going to be gaining 10% max health stacking every time he scores a critical hit. He's also going to be receiving health up buffs throughout the battle. So as this battle progresses, he's going to start to hit heavier and heavier, and he's also going to be able to give turn meter to all First Order allies every time he scores a critical hit. So just kind of going back to his basic ability here, which was, let's see, Judgment, and he had that guaranteed critical hit when he attacks a debuffed enemy. You're definitely going to want to be targeting those debuffed enemies, not just because you're going to get that critical hit, but because that critical hit equals offense up for him, basically through the form of 10% max health being stacked, and then it's also going to equal 10% turn meter for all First Order allies. So this is definitely going to be a character that we want to be running with First Order, because that's where the most synergy is going to be. So, some final takeaways after looking at First Order Executioner. I definitely think this looks like a pretty cool character. I'm not sure that it looks amazing at this point, but that's probably because I'm just not seeing him against the meta in this footage. So it's hard to get excited about him. You know, you're watching him beat Zetas here or some Phoenix squad, you know, but what is he going to be able to do against Commander Luke Skywalker? What is he going to be able to do against Rey? I think that raids, he probably will add some value. Having that turn meter manipulation is definitely good for raids, and he does have high damage output, and raids are battles that go on for a long time, so that stacking effect that he has that's going to apply to his offense could be really cool to see what kind of damage he's able to do towards the end of those raid battles. I mean, if you look at some of this footage, I'm seeing him do upwards of 70,000, 80,000 damage, which is definitely, I mean, that is a lot of damage to put out in these raids. But I'm also looking at this in this particular tank battle. You can see that the cooldown of the Enrage is getting pretty low. It's while he's doing a lot of damage and individual attacks, is the team composition itself going to be able to do those insane amounts of damage that we're seeing from other teams. But we also kind of already have an established raid team that works very well, that's utilizing, you know, like Thrawn, BB-8, RJT, those kind of characters that can do, I mean, geez, 20, 30 million damage. So a lot of you might not be really looking for holes to be filled in raid, but if you want to run him with First Order, if you want to be different and put First Order in as your arena team, is he going to change First Order and make them more viable? I'm just not sold at this point, but I'm intrigued. I'd really like to see if he's going to be able to add value there. The Dispel is very nice, which he does have that Dispel on his special death sentence, so very good to have. There are a lot of opportunities for debuffs with First Order, and so he can attack a debuffed enemy with his basic, have that guaranteed critical hit, which spirals into turn meter for everyone, and offense stacking for him. Health stacking, let's see, it's health stacking, but also that affects his offense as well. So I think that there's a lot to this character. I love the animations. He looks really cool. He's a very cool character visually, but I just really want to see how he's going to work in practice with First Order. And I do think he's going to need to be ran with First Order. Maybe I'm missing something, but I think that's where you're going to want to run him. But how is he going to work against that meta, the current meta that we have? That remains to be seen. I also definitely think this is going to be a character that fits well into dark side territory battles. A lot of us are pretty thin on our dark side rosters, and so if you've got a pretty decent First Order team, he might be really good to just dump in there for dark side territory battles. All of these characters, you know, when new characters come out, a lot of times we're just thinking, how are they going to work in the arena? And that's going to be my first consideration, definitely, because that's the area of the game where you're going to get the most payout in crystals. But some characters might not always be the best in arena. They might have more use in territory battles or in raids or that kind of thing. So that's something to think about as well. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me for this character reveal video. I hope you guys are excited about First Order Executioner. He definitely does look cool. I definitely have a lot of questions about him, and I'm anxious to test him out. Where do you think he's going to work? Definitely give me some suggestions down below. I think First Order is probably going to be the best bet, but is there some kind of hidden synergy that I'm not thinking about yet? Let me know down in the comments below, and we can go ahead and test that out when it comes time to test him out on the test account. As always, my friends, thank you so much for the support. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your guild mates, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And my brothers, don't forget
my dead body. Sorry about the mess.